Hey everyone, welcome back to the last top 10 video for the top 10 categories videos that I've been doing for Pixel Gun 3D. Today we're going to be counting down the top 10 melees in Pixel Gun 3D. I guess after this, we'll eventually have to loop back through and do all the categories again because yes, there are already some updates that need to be made. However, I'm probably going to wait maybe a month or two to do that. Just in case. I don't know. We might have to wait till start until 2023. But anyways, yeah, today we're counting down the top 10 melees, and I'll just say this list again can be very subjective. So I'm going to be judging these weapons based on like complete overall gameplay. So do they have good mobility? Do they have good damage? So it's not just damage that goes into this. Mobility is a part of it because that is one of the major factors in melee weapons is mobility. Also damage, and then also usefulness like grappling or maybe healing you or just something like that. So yeah, keep that in mind when I'm ranking these weapons. And again, this list is entirely my own opinion. So yeah, just keep that in mind. It's my opinion. So of course, it's subjective and you guys might want things to be switched around. But yeah, I guess let's just jump into the honorable mentions. If you guys like this video, make sure to subscribe for more Pixel Gun top 10s. And yes, honorable mentions, let's go. Okay, so for the first honorable mention, I'm actually just going to do the weapon that's in the background, the Sword of Silence. I can't really figure out how this weapon works. However, as you can tell, it is pretty dang good. It's I think about a 2-shot headshot, and so like, yeah, that's pretty good. It has a pretty fast fire rate, but I just can't get the range down. I can't figure it out. Even with like that astral wand range thing, its range just does not seem to be that good, and so I think that's kind of what drags it back for me is the range. Next honorable mention is Jet Tenderizer. This melee is definitely really good in Knife Party. However, it has a very long charge time, and I think that's kind of what I don't like about this weapon. But as you can tell, the charge time makes it usually about a one-shot. However, it doesn't actually like one-shot all the time when fully charged. However, like in maps like Knife Party, where you actually have a fair fight, this weapon will win you games. But once you get into like actual gun games where people can have like all have one-shot weapons, it's not as good when you have that really long charge time. And that's why I decided to put it in honorable mentions, because honestly, the only really good thing about this is its 85 mobility and its damage. Next honorable mention is Demon Sword. This thing is ridiculously good, especially with the level 9 shiv that I have. And yeah, that kind of just brings me to the cons of this weapon. It is extremely slow and has a fire delay, so you have to wait for the weapon to actually like swing in order to do damage. But as you guys can see, this thing's damage is ridiculously high. It one-shot headshots. So I mean, especially if you have like those higher level modules to like counter the mythical armors in the game, you will get a lot of one-shot kills, which is crazy. So yeah, but again, I don't like the fire rate. The mobility is only 65, but it's still a really good melee. Next honorable mention is ODM gear, and yes, this melee is very good for mobility. However, I'll just say this weapon is extremely similar to another weapon on this list that is just better than it. So I'm not going to put the same weapon twice if the other one's just better. So that's why it's an honorable mentions. Okay, finally, I'm putting Temple Claws and then any dash melee that is worse than Temple Claws. And the reason is because, yes, there is actually a best dash weapon. If you guys don't know, I ranked all the dash weapons in the game. If you guys want to go see that, definitely go check that out. And so for that reason, I just decided to put anything that is worse than the best dash weapon in honorable mentions, just so I'm not cluttering up the list. We interrupt this program for a quick commercial break. Before I continue this video, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Epee Direct for sending me this laptop cooler. I know I probably just butchered that name, however, that's kind of what I do here on the channel. So yes, sometimes I record Pixel Gun on my computer, because if you guys don't know, I have iOS, meaning that I need early access to updates, and the only way I can get that is through Android. So sometimes I play Pixel Gun on my laptop. Now, before anyone hates me, yes, I know, a laptop is not the best way to game. However, I'm in college and I need a computer that I can take with me everywhere, and so just getting a laptop and a PC is too much money, so I just went with a gaming laptop. Now, with these smaller games like Pixel Gun 3D, it isn't really too much of a problem. However, once you get into Apex, Legends, Minecraft with ray tracing, your specs can start to heat up quite a bit. And I don't know why I just said specs, I meant temperature. I'm very bad at talking. You can see here that I'm able to run Minecraft with ray tracing at a steady
150 degrees Fahrenheit. However, normally I'm playing at like 190 degrees Fahrenheit with my fan speed at 80%.
Meaning that yes, it actually does cut back on the temperature. So if you guys feel like you could definitely use this, then go ahead and click the link down in the description to go get one for yourself. It's only like $30. Alright, and we're back. Sorry about that. But that was my first ever technical sponsorship, I guess you could say. But anyways, number 10 on this list, Screaming Saw. This weapon was just recently buffed and then reintroduced in the new Halloween Traders van. And I'll say its gameplay is actually pretty decent. I'll say it doesn't technically one-shot headshot. I believe its headshot damage is a base damage of like 194 or maybe 186, something like that. I don't know. I know that it almost one-shot headshots, but not all the time. So if you guys have like really high-level modules, you should be able to one-shot headshot pretty much everyone in the lobby. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, again, the fire rate is kind of a killer for me. And again, it's just not the guarantee headshot, which is why it's so low. Next up is the Fist of Fate. This melee weapon is ridiculously good if you can hit every burst shot, because this weapon is a one-shot fully charged and you hit every of the burst shot thingies. As you guys can see, once I fully charge and I shoot my weapon, there are like hands that shoot out in front of it, and if you can hit every shot, then it one-shot headshots. However, the second you miss a single shot, it doesn't one-shot headshot, and that's honestly what kind of drags it down for me, because then you have to like charge it up again and do more damage, and by then you might be dead. So, I mean, yes, it is very, very good. It doesn't, I believe it only has a 75 mobility, so it's not really strong in the mobility area. So basically what I'm trying to say is its only strong thing is getting kills. It's not really too useful otherwise. However, if you are looking for a good melee to get kills with, this is definitely a good way to go. This weapon can win you games, and it's only legendary. So yeah, honestly, with this melee, top 10 melee list, there are probably more legendaries on this list than any other weapon list, so definitely stick around. I cannot talk right now. Next up, we got Thermal Mecha Knife. What I like about this weapon is it is relatively consistent. So it does about 102 damage, I believe, to a body shot, and then 140 damage headshot, and then it does like an additional 30 damage burning, meaning that it does like 170 damage to the head, I believe, total. So you're pretty much always going to two-shot. Even when I don't two-shot body shot directly players in the game, the burning pretty much always finishes them off, which makes this weapon very consistent for gameplay. However, in a map like Pool Party, it can be very hard to like finish off those kills with burning, because usually those kills just get stolen. However, this weapon has an 85 mobility, making it very, very good for moving around the map. Usually when I tell people to get a mobility melee, I tell them to get anything that has 85 mobility onward, or something with a dash or pulling towards target if it doesn't have 85 mobility. But yep, this has it, and it's pretty good for getting kills. So for that reason, it is number 8, I believe we are on. Next up, we got Double Cashback. This melee weapon has 100 mobility, which I'm pretty sure is the highest mobility of any melee weapon in the game. However, I could be wrong, and I just mean direct mobility, not like grapple or dash or anything. So yeah, that is definitely what carries this weapon. This weapon is also pretty dang good for getting kills. I know this is a bot lobby in the background, however, still against real players, it's good for getting kills because of its high fire rate and consistency. It does about 80 damage, which means that it does 200, or you need to do 240 damage to get a kill with body shots. Which means that if you're going against mythical armor players, you just need like maybe level 5 modules in order to keep that consistency of a 3-shot. So yeah, I just really can appreciate we got a consistent high fire rate melee that is a very fast melee. I'm so bad at talking, but we already know that. And yeah, I hope you guys can just see this weapon is definitely good. I'm currently in 2nd place, even though I was just in 1st. And yeah, you can win games with this. However, I actually recommend this melee for mobility instead of for getting kills, but it can still get you both. Next up, we got Ice Paws. Now, let me just say, this melee is really weird. I still haven't figured out the hitbox, but basically, there is an area of attack where it does more damage than if you were just to go in head-on. You can see that in my gameplay, I'm just going in head-on, still doing a decent amount of damage. However, if you can attack it at the right angle, it will go from like a 4-shot headshot to a 2-shot headshot. So it's a very, very big difference. So if you know how to use this melee weapon, it can be one of the best melee weapons in the game for getting kills. it has a 65 mobility, so it's not really the best for moving around the map. So yeah, it's just, I'm just horrible with it, but if you guys can get the hang of it, this weapon is going to win you games. In fact, a lot of people recommend upgrading it to mythical. Alright, next up on this list is Heroic Epee, and I believe that is actually how you pronounce it according to Google. It is Epee. Epee. So if I'm saying that wrong, whatever. I don't know, I always say it wrong. But this melee is probably the most well-rounded melee in the game, and it is probably the most used melee by a lot of players because it is pretty much good for literally everything in this game. It heals you for 12 HP per tick, meaning it's good for healing for whatever you need that for. It has an 85 mobility, meaning it's good for mobility, and it does really good damage, and it was recently buffed, so its damage is definitely really good, and it gets you a lot of kills. And it has super punch. So yeah, it is a very well-rounded melee that you guys need to get if you ever get the chance, and also it's legendary. So yeah, it can only get better from here. So next up is Runic Sentinel, and unlike Heroic Epee, this heals you for both health and armor, whereas Heroic Epee only heals you for health. I believe it also heals 12 HP per tick, however, I think it's 8 health and then 4 armor per tick at the same time. So I'm pretty sure that's right, however, that could definitely be wrong because I believe it's changed. However, that could also be wrong. So it has a 75 mobility, so it's not the best, but it's still decent. I probably wouldn't use this for mobility, but what's really good about this weapon is it's also really good for getting kills. It has consecutive damage, meaning it's really easy to hit targets if you can get used to the shot delay. What you may notice is that when you swing the sword, it actually takes a second for the consecutive explosions to come out and hit the target. So if you can kind of get used to how it gets kills, this thing can definitely destroy lobbies because it always two-shots people. It is probably the most consistent damage melee weapon in the game, which is definitely very good. Yeah, if you guys don't know, this is the Crystal Division melee weapon, okay? Alright, let's move on to, I believe, the number 3rd spot. Alright, and I don't know why I said number 3rd, however, in the number 3rd spot, we have Jet Spear. Now, this is my personal go-to weapon for mobility, because I personally do not like having to charge my weapon to move around. I like to instantly be able to switch it and grapple, which is what this weapon is. Yes, it has a little bit of a fixed delay, but once you get past that fixed delay, you can just jet around the map so quickly. It does have a 65 mobility, however, that doesn't matter because you're not supposed to be standing still and walking with this. You're supposed to be grappling around. That is the key purpose of this melee weapon. It is also decently good for getting kills. However, it's like kind of inconsistent. If you like go against bots, you may notice like I'm one-shot body shotting the bots. However, real players, that's not always the case. They kind of need to be kind of weak. But I believe like its base damage might be around 140. That could be completely wrong. But still, this is honestly my go-to movement melee weapon. So yeah, I highly recommend you guys get this if you ever can. Definitely one of my favorite weapons in the game. Alright, in the number 2 spot, we have Thermal Ultra Scythe. This is hands down the best dash weapon in the game. It has a mobility of 85, and then plus the longest lasting dash with the quickest charge time makes this an extremely fast moving melee. And it's pretty much a consistently always two-shot body shot weapon. However, once you get in a map like Pool Party where everyone's pretty much always weak, you might even do quite a lot of one-shot body shots. Yeah, this melee weapon is ridiculously good for not only getting kills, but definitely for moving around the map. So yeah, but unfortunately you can't just go and get this, you have to grind for this. It is a level 65 veterans weapon. So yeah, but still very good. And in the number 1 spot, we have Additional Biting Limb. This weapon has a pretty decent charge time, and it grapples you across the map. And let me just say, the range of the grapple is so long. You guys can see I can grapple all the way across Pool Party, making this a really, really good mobility melee weapon. And what you guys may also notice is that this weapon pretty much always one-shot body shots everyone. Now, it may not always instantly one-shot body shot everyone, but it has a really, really good poison, which will pretty much ensure the one-shot every time. And this thing is so freaking overpowered. The only downside, in my opinion, is the charge time and the fact that it runs out of ammo pretty quick. But its base damage is over 200. When you test this in a damage test with regular armor, it one-shot body shots everyone. So in theory, if you have high enough level modules, you will one-shot everyone with this weapon. which makes it ridiculously good for getting kills and for moving around. So yeah, this is, in my opinion, the best melee weapon in the game. However, I can understand if a lot of you guys disagree with that. Just don't hate me for it, okay? But yeah, still very, very good. Well guys, that's going to wrap up the list there. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, again, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know if you guys agreed with this list. Maybe you disagreed. What would you change about what I said? And maybe let me know what your guys' top 10 melee weapons are down in the comments. I actually do read those comments, so if you do leave it, I will read it. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys all enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys all in the next video. Peace.